introduce is a guy named John B. Cook, who's a comic book creator, just finished doing the Big Book of Weirdo. And there'll be a panel on that at 4 to 5 from group 23 to 22 ABC over there. So after I get this Comic Con done, I'm going to think about doing a trilogy of Billy the Beagle.
Geary, and I've been working for the past 25 years on a series of graphic novels about famous murder cases in the Victorian era and the 20th century. And so I'm continuing along those lines. My latest one is called The Wallace Mystery, which is for sale at my table down in the hall at 6.
Hi, my name is William Stout. I'm one of the 5 people that has been at every single Comic-Con. It's my big 5-0 this year. And I worked in about every field of art that you can imagine, that you can think of. If you're a San Diego resident, you may have seen my murals at the Natural History Museum or at the San Diego Zoo. And I currently just came out with a huge, gigantic book that's a career overview called Fantastic Worlds, the Art of William Stout. It is over 300 pages, over 500 images, and each chapter, there's 12 chapters, each chapter is on a different aspect of my career. So there's one on dinosaurs, one on Antarctica, one on comics, one on music-related art, one on theme park design, film design. And now I'm going to take each of those chapters and make a book the same size as each of those chapters.
My name is Steve Sansweet. I'm the head of the branch of Obi-Wan, which is a museum that houses the world's largest collection of Star Wars memorabilia. And from 1996 to 2011, I was head of fan relations for Lucasfilm and brought Star Wars back to Comic-Con.
Woo! Yeah!
I am Paul Levitz. Most of my career at DC Comics, where I wrote things like Legion of Superheroes, Superman, and Batman, and ran the company for about 30 years with the wonderful team of crazy people, and have been at Comic-Con, I think about 35 times, going back to 1974.
I'm Maggie Thompson with my husband Don. We were among the pioneers of amateur publishing, fan publishing. We published the first general fanzine about comics called, surprisingly, Comic Art. For 30 years, I co-edited Comics Buyer's Guide. I now do the My Toucan blog and a project for for Gemstone, which is a timeline which lets me revisit the history of comics every week.
Hello, I'm Billy Tucci. I don't think I'd be on this panel if it weren't for Maggie and Paul, so thank you both. I am a self-publisher. I self-published my comic book She for about 12 years. Did over, I don't know, close to 200 issues, I guess, of She and some of the other books. Then I had a lot of fun doing a lot of work for DC Comics, so again, thank you, Paul. I got a little burnt out doing the same character, but this is our 26th Comic-Con in a row, my 26th exhibiting, but celebrating our 25th anniversary. And and we're bringing my character She back again now. The next month we're launching it with a crowdfunded book. And it's going to be 25 years removed from when the story first came out. So now Anna Ishikawa, our character, will be a mother raising her teenage daughter, and her warrior days are behind her. It's a modern-day samurai story, and it all comes back. So thank you, and it's sort of a comic book grows up, I guess.
Nice.
Comic character.
I'm Eddie Campbell, the artist of From Hell. Once I've been coming to Comic-Con for 30 years now, since '89. My latest book, I've illustrated the short stories of my wife, Audrey Niffenegger, who's the novelist who wrote the Time Travelers book. And if you haven't seen that book, you can find it in aisle 1200 from Abrams. Thank you.
We have an amazing array of talent So these topic-based panels are always fun, and the topic here is best Comic-Con story. But I'm gonna put them on the spot and go on the other end of the spectrum and kind of ask you guys. And I'm gonna start with maybe Billy.
Okay.
Why don't you guys tell us, with all of your years of experience and all the cons you guys have done professionally and you know maybe as a kid, what's your worst Comic-Con story?
Make me told with kids.
And remember, there's kids in the audience, and
I know my worst It was 1998, 21 years ago, and my wife and I and her little sister, who was 13 at the time, were walking back from the con on a Saturday afternoon, my birthday, and these two drunken guys came up from behind and started to harass my sister-in-law. And they were, and I don't know, maybe you should tell this video, you tell me that. And I told them to stop, right? And I told them to stop. Politely. And
Explained
then,
that she was only 13, even though she didn't look it.
yeah, and he just, two big guys, and then they came behind me and he just said something, and but yes, she does have a sweet little A, and I flipped. And right in front of the Horton Grand, so only here we didn't stay in the Marriott, that we couldn't get the Marriott, they put us at the Horton Plaza, which was nice, you know. And then I turned around and I had the money box with us, and I threw it on the ground and I punched him right in the face. But that's not the best one. Well, then I hit him hard in the face, and if anyone knows, when you get punched in the nose, you bleed. And he just bled all over the place, and and he just went into a rage, like, he turned into the Incredible Hulk, and I was like, oh my God. And then I had this huge fight with him in the middle of the Horton Plaza, and there was no bellhops there was no valet people there, no one was there, people were looking at us, and then we were fighting, and then finally I beat him up, I ended up choking him, and I got on top of him, and he bit me. That's right. That's right, he bit me. And I got stitches, and I broke my arm. I saw the teeth marks in my arm, and my wife said, I said, you're biting me? You're biting me now? And then I was in the service, and I learned a move that you just grab someone by the throat, and I was on the ground, and he was on top, and I just grabbed him by his throat, and I just turned him over, and I laid him on his back, and I was just going to choke him, and then everyone pulled me off and started yelling at me, and then I was this person. And he was a big guy, right? He was like Bill Stout size, you know? And then they pull us off, the cops come, and of course, they run away, the guys, the two men. No, I ran to the other one. You want to start something too? And they said, no, and they left. And then the cops came and almost arrested me for a drunken brawl. And I got, like, my badge is still on my neck, or the lanyard and my badge.
I took photos.
Yeah, and then we spent my 32nd birthday in the hospital, and getting a tetanus shot and everything like that, but yeah, it was pretty interesting. And the only thing I was worried about was, like, I have no badge, I can't get back into the audience. But they took my badge too. I did, and that's probably my work, but I guess maybe now it's kind of funny. But at the time, it was pretty bad. And then and I remember I was all wrapped up.
Yes.
My hand broke, and I had a chain gear, and
Of course, he's left-handed and was punching with his left hand, and all of the gentleman's teeth just busted up his knuckles.
yeah, and I probably had like 5 commissions I had to finish that day. And I was
May I point out that I don't think anyone else on this panel can top that?
no. Well, there's some things you don't say to a lady. And I'm stopped.
Speaking on that, to the two ladies on this panel, I assume when you guys started doing conventions, has the climate changed at all in the last few years, or you want to elaborate on your guys' experiences as opposed to their experiences, and how did that, go on? You guys tell me. I don't want to speak for your experiences.
I'll go first. It's the world round. No, I mean, I went. 1987 was my first one. I was there to meet Peter Bag. I had my first comic published in Weirdo. I was there to get my whole $10, and so I was very excited. And I was walking around, and some guy behind a table looked up and said, "Oh, you looking for your kids?" And I go, "Excuse me." Well, what are you doing here? I mean, you must be looking for your kids. kids, that's why you came. And I go, sir, I am a cartoonist, and I'm here to get paid. And I just went, wow, what a jerk. And that wasn't the first time. So there was, you know, a little bit of that. The fellow comic creators that are men have always been encouraging. So there was a little bit of a problem with the fan guys. They just weren't used to seeing so many, you know, women. But now I hear the statistic is under 30, 60%.
Yeah.
My experience, my bad experience pales in comparison. They used to have a banquet during the convention, and the last one of those, and I think it was the last one because of that, the food was so bad that Carol Kalish at Marvel Comics went to the hall and called Pizza Shop and brought in pizzas to our table so that everyone was looking at us because we had the best food. That was the last year that there was a banquet.
I was invited to a convention called the Rockin' Comic-Con in Pasadena. I accepted because I live in Pasadena, so it's very easy to go to. My pal Bernie Riceman was a guest there as well. But when they told me the concept, Rockin' Comic-Con, I said, choose one. Is this a rock and roll convention or is this a comic convention? They said, no, it's both. We've got all these 80s bands lined up, Flock of Seagulls, all these different groups. They're going to be playing each night, and then during the day, it's a comic convention. And I gleaned right away that these guys had never done a convention before. Because for one thing, they made it a 3-day show right off the bat. Well, Friday's a wash because everybody is at work. So they're going to pay for this expensive convention center, and no one's going to be there. So, sure enough, Friday comes around, and they assign one woman to the job of taking the cash for the badges and giving the badges. For this long line of people. So it's taking hours and hours and hours for anybody to get in as an attendee. So by the time they get in, those people are pretty angry. And because it was a Friday, because it was poorly advertised, no one showed up for the first concert of the 80s bands. They told all the other bands to quit. So now, all these people that paid to go to the Rockin' Comic-Con, so the Rock Park, they were really angry because they weren't going to get to see any bands. And the second day, the Saturday, the place was practically deserted, and they came up to me, they said, you want this entire row of tables, or yours? They did the same thing with Bernie. So Bernie and I had a contest to see who could make the least amount of money here. And Bernie won. I made $40, he made 15 for the entire
How was the second year?
And you've all done professional cons for a long time, but do you guys remember your first con as a child? Was really your first con? What was that experience? Not putting you on the spot. If you don't remember, no problem. But, I remember my first con was actually in Los Angeles at this place called Shrine. It was a weekly show they used to put on every month back in the day. I don't know if they still do. But it was a great time. I had no idea about comics, but
it's every other month now.
What's that? You remember this Shrine, right?
Yeah.
Bruce Schwartz used to put that show on. And I remember just loving this green, big, puffy character called the Hulk as a kid, and I had no idea he was even a comic. I used to see him spray painted on the wall outside my neighborhood, and I just thought he was like a neighborhood boogeyman. And I went to this convention, and my dad's like, no, stupid, that's a comic book character. I'm like, what's a comic book, Dad? And he's like, read this story, and I was hooked at that point. But I'd love to hear your guys' experiences, if you remember that moment, and what kind of drew you to, you know, loving comics at that point, if you did love comics, but if you're like, this sucks, and you're still coming either way. Yeah, anybody, feel free.
Well, I always hate to confess this, but as a kid, I never was a comic fan. I was more into Mad Magazine. And my first Comic-Con was 1976, when it was in the El Cortez. And I have to say, from that day to this, I've never had anything near what I call negative experience. Although I've run into people who've had them, but it's all been very fine and memorable. Except maybe what happened today might be illustrative of how things have changed. We had 2 sets of close friends come downtown today, 2 couples, and 3 of them had never been to the Comic-Con before. The 4th one hadn't been here in about 40 years or so. And they were stuck outside in the huge crowds because they're not letting anyone anywhere near the convention center unless they have a badge. So we had to meet our friends outside, wait through the crowds to give them their badges. And that's just indicative of how things have changed.
First convention I ever went to was a science fiction convention called Western. It was in Santa Monica. And my mind was blown. Here was a whole room full of people. None of them were going to make fun of me for liking that stuff. It was like, wow, I found my tribe.
Sure. So the first Comic-Con I went to was in New York, 1971, one of the famous Bill Sully conventions. We had 3,500 people at the convention. It was the largest comic convention that had ever happened in America to that date. We didn't think they could ever get any larger. Would that fit in ballroom 20 now, I think, more or less? Maybe a couple of people on each other's laps. Certainly wouldn't fill Hall H.
My first convention was in 1955. I was 12 years old. It was a World Science Fiction Convention in Cleveland. My mother was a science fiction writer you've never heard of. So I got to hang out with the professionals, met Harlan Ellison, met Isaac Asimov, met Anthony Boucher, met Judy Merrill, etc., and got to hang with them because she was a professional writer. And so that was the introduction. But one of my memories is that I went to the dealer's table, and big-hearted Howard DeVore had an issue of Animal Comics. So I was collecting comics at that point, and I didn't have that issue. And I said to him, how much is this? And he looks at me, 12 years old, and he goes, it is literally priceless. There is no amount of money that you could have that would enable you to find a copy of this comic book. It's 1955. And he said, but it is literally priceless. It's a comic book. And he gave it to me.
I would go to the Suing shows too, in New York, being in New York, and they were crazy about it. By the time I came.
You know, the first time I came to this one was 89, 30 years ago. And Jackie Estrada, one of the long-time organizers, has been posting the photos on her Facebook. And my wife showed me the one that she had there for 89. It's a picture of me. And I had such a sweet, innocent face. And I looked at that sweet, innocent lad, and I thought, if I could reach back through the decades, what would I say to him? I would say, you sap, you complete idiot. I arrived in San Diego because we didn't have the internet then. And I arrived in San Diego without having organized a hotel. I thought, I'll find one when I get there. And I found a telephone kiosk with Yellow Pages. And I think I phoned one or two, and I wasn't getting there. I ended up at something way far out. I think it was called the Flamingo Lodge Hotel or something. I can't remember. And you can check out any time you like. And I used to recommend it because I'd come in from Australia, you see, and I'd recommend it to other people who were coming. There was a local shop owner come over with his wife, and I said, go to the Flamingo Lodge, it's great. And she was mad at me because their room had bullet holes in the wall. I used the phone in the room once, and it cost me $72, which was a lot of money. Still a lot of money. So So I always use the phone in the street. Always use the phone in the street, I would say to anybody. And I remember way back then, I bought a ticket to the banquets that Maggie was just talking about. I thought I'll chance it. I'll get a $25 ticket because I was made of money in those days. I get a $25 ticket to the banquet, and I thought I'll probably end up at the back of the room with a table full of deadbeats. But I'm at a table with Maggie and Sergio Aragonés, and Max Allen Collins, and Maggie and Don, and then after we'd eaten up the food, I can't remember it being bad food, it was alright to me. And after we scarfed down the food, Max Allen Collins was singing in the band, it was a rock and roll band, and Diana Schutz was the first girl on the dance floor.
It's a great story. Okay, so we got danced around the topic, I think, long enough. To nobody in particular, anybody wants to speak up. Best comments on story, and we're celebrating 50 years of Comic Con here, so feel free to, if you have a specific Comic Con story, that'd be great. But if you don't, that's fine as well. And then after that, if you guys have any questions, we're gonna open it up to the audience. So yeah, guys, what's your best Comic Con story?
Okay, I better start here. The clock's ticking here.
Yeah.
No, I was telling my friend about this. It was 1997, and you were on the panel with me, Eddie. And it was a weird group of people. It was Eric Reynolds moderating, Jim Valentino, myself, Eddie, and Joe Mann. And I don't know what we were talking about. We never stuck on any topic or anything. But all I know is I had terrible laryngitis. I've been talking to everybody about some animation thing I was doing, and I was like, woke up Saturday going, and I'm supposed to be on this panel, and I'm like, what am I going to do? So I made these signs. I made like 6 of them. I agree. I disagree. Shut up. You're crazy, or something like that, and I love you, or something like that. And so I brought him to the panel, and so everybody started to talk, and so I called it my sign, I agree, and everybody laughed. And so about the third guffaw that I got from my signs, Eddie starts trying to grab them from me, to get a few yucks himself. And so we're having this tug of war under the table with these signs, and all of a sudden I have to cough. And I'm like, and it's getting worse and worse, and I couldn't get up out of the table. I'm in the middle of the row. And so I'm putting my head under the table. Eric thinks I'm crying at this point. Joe Matt's next to me going, I'm in hell. I'm in hell. And then Jim starts telling some story about Marvel and Image Comics, and he just went on and on. And then the real tears are coming out of my eyes. So finally, I got it. The panel was over, and I looked at Eric, and he goes, I don't think I'm going to record that one. I'm going to erase that when I get to the hotel room. I was like, good idea. That's my story.
I don't know if this qualifies as an actual story, but what popped into my head was Comic-Con of 1980. And this is the year that I started contributing to the funny pages of the National Lampoon. And it was also the year that all the funny pages artists were invited guests to the con. And so I was supposed to join these people at the National Lampoon booth. This was when it was in Golden Hall. And there were these cartoonists who were my idols. There was Sam Gross and Sherry Flanagan and Mary Kay Brown and B.K. Taylor, people like that, who I admired for years. And I remember as I walked into the hall and I was getting nearer the booth, I kind of hid behind a column. I was thoroughly intimidated, and it took me a while to get the courage to join them there at the booth. And so I finally did. And but I remained intimidated for the remainder of the con, and I don't recall getting out of coherent sense for the entire time. So That's it. I haven't changed that much.
Film director Guillermo del Toro and I share a lot of friends in common. I hadn't met Guillermo, but they all my friends go say, "Oh, you got to meet Guillermo. You guys are like two peas in a pod. We'll really hit it off." But we just kept missing each other. Another friend of mine was Frank Darabont, the director of Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile. And Frank was a regular attendee at Comic-Con, and on Thursday night, he would basically book the biggest room in the best restaurant in San Diego, and then invite all his favorite comic artists and occasionally film directors to have dinner together. And I always look forward to that. It was a spectacular time. And that particular year, he seated me opposite Guillermo. So I was able to finally talk with Guillermo, and we hit it off, and Guillermo came by my booth next day. He bought a couple paintings. And there was one in particular that he bought. It was a Hellboy pen that I did, Hellboy in the Mountains of Madness. I did that with Mike Mignola because I knew Mike was a big Lovecraft fan, hence the Mountains of Madness connotation. I had been to Antarctica a number of times, and so the picture is me looking at a map, trying to figure out where the hell we are in Antarctica. Well, Hellboy is guarding me, and behind him is this gigantic Lovecraftian creature about to get us both. So I didn't know it, but the film that Guillermo wanted to make the most was At the Mountains of Madness. And he told me he wanted me to design it with Wayne Marlowe and with Mike Mignola. And he said, and you know why I want Wayne and Mike to work on it? Because they hate each other's guts, and to put them in a room together would be fantastic. So he bought these pictures. He said, would you mind delivering these to my home? And I said, yeah, I don't know. So I got a little project I want to talk to you about. So I brought the pictures, and after the convention was over, I drove up to his house, and he showed me his spectacular collection, which is unrivaled. It's just amazing. And he began to talk to me about this little Spanish film he wanted to make that he wanted me to work on called Pan's Labyrinth. And in the middle of our conversation, the phone rings, and he goes over, he answers, and I hear his side of it. Oh, hello. Oh, thank you. I am so impressed. Oh, this is fantastic. This is great. But I will have to say no, because I need to make my little Spanish film now. I go, Cameron, what was all that about? Oh, that was Warner Brothers. They just offered me Harry Potter. My esteem for him just skyrocketed. This guy blew off the Harry Potter franchise to do his little Spanish film. So I said, Guillermo, I'm yours.
Well, my favorite Comic-Con story was in 2004. I was bringing all of the prequels to Comic-Con, doing panels in Hall H. And if you are a Star Wars fan or you know a Star Wars fan, you know that the title of the movie, which is kept very secret by Lucasfilm until a certain point, is a very important thing to fans. And so my boss told me, well, we're going to let you reveal the title of episode 3 at Comic-Con. So this was like a great gift. And I had to figure out how to do it. So I came up with the idea of doing a film clip in which we would sort of tease the titles of all of the films to date, and then so everyone would be expecting the name of the new film. And we ran, Star Wars footage, episode 4, Star Wars footage, and then the title of New Hope comes up. And then episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. We did this through episode 3, and we had some footage of some laser sword fighting background footage against blue screen. And then the film rolls again, and it stutters deliberately. We put a stutter into the film, and I hear, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden it corrects itself, and the title comes up, Revenge of the Sith. And people went bananas. Because it's a good, strong title, and after titles like A Phantom Menace, you know, it was something that they really loved, and it was a title that harked back to Revenge of the Jedi, which never was named Revenge of the Jedi. And so then I stepped out on the front of the stage, and I was wearing an overshirt, took off the overshirt, and I was wearing a t-shirt that had the Revenge of the Sith logo printed on it, and I said, and right now, at this exact moment, the Star Wars shop booth on the floor is selling these Revenge of the Sith shirts. Well, what I didn't realize is that that would trigger a mass accident. And the programming chief of Comic-Con, Gary Sassaman, was very angry with me. The fire marshals were pissed. And I heard the Wayne brothers were signing at a table, and some people knocked them over. And all of a sudden, they sold out the T-shirts. You know, here I was doing the shill business for Star Wars Shop, but it was great fun seeing the fans get excited over the title of the Revenge of the Sith.
So I'm going to cheat and do two short ones. One of the fun things about getting to know the creators of comics, even for those of us who are ultimately creators, is you get to know these people who are older than you, whose stuff you grew up on, and sometimes you're able to lend them a hand. So this is about 15 years ago. I'm having breakfast with Mike Richardson downstairs at the Marriott one morning, and Stan Lee comes by to say hi on his way through the breakfast room. But he's going like a hand over his mouth, and he's mumbling. You know, Stan's already pretty goddamn old. But and he's been fine. You know, this is Grandpa, and we react with some worry. But then he moves and says, "I'm sorry, sorry I cracked a tooth this morning, and it's Saturday, and I gotta find a damn dentist because I'm being videoed at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do." I said, "Stan, I think I can help you with that. I am not a dentist." I said, and he looks at me like I'm crazy. That happens from time to time. And I said, "My next breakfast is with the assistant police chief of San Diego, who's a friend of mine, and she's gonna know where to find you a dentist. So just, give me the cell number and I'll check it." And I go off to second breakfast with Shelley. She pulls out, this is before smartphones, she pulls out some nuclear-powered device. Sure, well, look, we'll find somebody, and if not, we'll put him in a squad car, we'll take him to Coronado, to the hospital, we'll get it taken care of there, and bring him back that way. She hits a couple things, tells somebody, mutters something, guy calls back, says, "Okay, here's the phone number of a dentist who's in the hall at the moment." So I got to save Stanley's tooth. Because I don't want to interfere in the battle between whether Stan's more important or Jack, because they were both friends. Probably about 10 years before that, towards the end of Jack's life, I come into the Marriott, back from a lunch or something like that. This is the beginning of the convention. I arrived, I guess, the day earlier to help set up the DC booth or some nonsense like that. And sitting there in the lobby on the seats, they used to have seats in the lobby back when it was like a normal hotel, not an entire planet of its own. Are Jack and Roz Kirby, looking like Grandma and Grandpa, completely worn out, and they've just driven down from Los Angeles. The room isn't going to be ready for a couple of hours, Paul. We're really tired. And I just reach in my pocket and pull out my room key and say, "Here, guys, go take a nap. Just leave this. I'll go play at the DC booth, and it's fine. I'll use the room later." So that's my stories to get to help Stan and Jack.
So I'm at the Comics Buyer's Guide booth in the exhibit hall, and Mark Hamill comes over, and he says, I'm making a movie and wondered if you'd like to be in it, and he tells me the premise, which is the Golden Age fans are trying to convince current movie producers they should do a movie about the Golden Age character rather than the more recent character. I'm given the premise. Billy West is supposedly the grandson of the original creator. Jess Harnell is supposedly the video guy filming the interview at the convention, etc. And it was improv for about 15 minutes with Billy West. And yes, and Jess Harnell. And at one point, Harnell goes, what if the Hulk wasn't green? What if it was a different color? And I said, well, no, originally it was gray. Really? So I was sick. But none of it was scripted. It was just commentary. And then basically, Mark called it his home movie, but it turned out that they released it direct to video. It is fun. He called it his love letter to Comic-Con. And in the commentary track on my scene, I believe it's Mark and probably Jess, making the comment, gosh, that woman really loves her comments.
I'll tell two short ones too, if I may. It was 10 years ago at Comic-Con, and and thank you, Paul, I had just we were in the middle of Sergeant Rock, the Lost Battalion. I did it for DC Comics, and this was a book that I had written and illustrated, and it was based on, it was almost like a documentary, because we worked close hand in hand with the real veterans. And a few months before, so we were at the Diamond Retailer Summit, and DC had made a bunch of little 11 by 17 posters of the cover, and we were signing them for free and handing them out to the retailers. And by the time they were done, they had some extras, so they sent them to me, to us, at our little studio. But it was Comic-Con, it was 2009, and the book was really popular, and I had become friends with a lot of the Japanese-American soldiers of the 442nd Regiment of the Combat Team. And I just called 3 of them, and I said, 2 of them lived in San Diego, one was in like Ocean County or something. I said, at the Comic-Con, would you guys mind coming down to the Comic-Con? And they were like, yeah! And one of them was a Medal of Honor recipient. And we're at my booth where it is now. If you go through the B2C entrance, we're the first booth you see, booth 1801. And these 3 gentlemen came, and they had their hats, they're like the military, the hats from their organization, the Japanese American Veterans hat. And you should have seen the crowd of people who came, and there were hundreds of people. I think we might have had 100, maybe 250 posters, and they were just sitting there signing them, and they thought it was the greatest thing, right? And they were just handing it to everybody and taking pictures, and because a lot of Navy and Marines are here, they were taking, and they were like rock stars, which is so great because so few people knew about the Japanese American soldiers of World War II, and they're the most highly decorated unit in U.S. military history. And yeah, the Nisei, yeah. And
you know that other was.
No, I did not know that. No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, just these, and you would never, because they never talked about it. And what's so great about them is that these soldiers were all taken, their families were taken, they were literally ripped from their homes, their businesses were taken away from them, and they were shipped off to internment camps. And something amazing happens that they all wanted to volunteer to fight because they were Americans, and only because either their parents were Japanese or their grandparents were born in Japan. And they ended up, like I said, joining up for the army. They couldn't fight the Japanese because they were Japanese, so they fought the Germans. And the most astonishing thing is not only were the most highly decorated unit in U.S. military history, they also had the highest casualty rate. And what the most astonishing thing was that these men went so far to fight for another's freedom when their own families were interned behind barbed wire here at home. And they were American citizens, and they just felt such a love. And then we went to a restaurant, right? And the Hellboy cast was all having dinner, and Ron Perlman and all them came because they saw Joe with his Medal of Honor. He was wearing it, and they all took pictures with, and they just thought it was the greatest day of their life. So that was one of them. And another one, a fun one, just to tell. 25 years ago, when my wife Deborah and I came, and we were just 2 young larks. The year before I was trying to get work, nobody would hire me because my style didn't fit anyone. So I said, I'm going to do my own comic book. Well, the next thing you know, it kind of blew up, the comic book, my book, She. And we were kind of like the new big thing at the show that year, and we got on the news, we got entertainment, television and all this. And just to show you how different Comic-Con was, we were in the booth at Small Press. There were so many people, they had to move us to the autograph area. and we were next to William Shatner. Bigger line than Shatner. It was great. What was he doing? And he's like, what do you do? And Debbie's like, we make comic books, right? And he's like, all right. So, but just to show how different Comic-Con was, Debbie goes to go get some lunch for us. We're at the booth, and she's gone, and so next thing you know, she comes up and she strikes up this, she goes, oh, I just struck this wonderful meeting, conversation with this beautiful woman named Joan online to get food, because we were getting, about Dobermans. We had a Doberman, a neurotic Doberman pincher, apparently she did. And they just struck up this conversation, and she goes, oh, I met this really nice friend, and we were talking, and all of a sudden, Debbie gets up, and after we come back, she comes back from lunch, and I'm signing, and she gets up and she runs over there, and all of a sudden she comes walking back with Joan laughing and Stan Lee. Stan Lee. And she goes, oh, these are my new friends.
No idea who Stan Lee was.
She doesn't know anybody. She didn't know anybody. I took her to a Phil Schuling show in the city once, and then she never wanted to go back again. She was the only 20-year-old girl there. But, and so he's like, dude, this is amazing. You do your own comic. And I'm like, you know, it was just so great. And he's loved this ever since. We became friends with him and stuff like that. And it was amazing. It just shows how different Comic-Con was back then, because I think it was 94. It was here, so it was bigger. It was only in the A&B Hall, I think. And it was still so much bigger than anything else. And I just love the idea that Joan, Lee is getting her to stand hot dogs or whatever the food is. That was their lunch in '94, well, at that particular day. So that was really cool. So that's it.
I've forgotten to tell good stories and bad stories. I don't have any celebrity stories. There's a little story of sketching. Most people who come to the table ask for a sketch. They're lovely people. They're grateful, they're gracious. Every now and then there's somebody who tries your patience. A fellow came up to me and said, you don't draw me a sketch in my book. And I said, well, I usually just draw sketches in books that I'm selling. If you buy a book, but if I bought a book, we do a lot of sketching in my sketchbook. I said, yeah, okay, then if you buy one of the books here, I'll happily draw you a little sketch in the book. And he said, what's the cheapest book you've got? I said, well, I'm at the Bacchus Colour Special, that's $3.99. So he says, okay, if I buy the Bacchus Colour Special, you'll do me a little sketch. I said, yeah, I'll do you a little sketch. So he bought the Bacchus Colour Special for $3.99. And I started doing my regular, William Doll, Jack the Ripper sketch. And he says, oh, you joined Jack the Ripper? He says, can you make it look like me? He said. He's asked me to draw him. So I looked at him and I started his features. And he said, and can you have me being stabbed to death by a London prostitute? So I turned it slightly to the side. Like Mary Kelly looming over him, wielding a knife. And I had a last minute thought. I gave her a word balloon and she said, take that, you cheap bastard.
We are out of time.